What's up, everybody? Back from a crazy week in the studio with Imperial, my band. We had a great time. We're working on a new record. It's coming out amazing. The studio is a good thing to talk about because if you want to play music, that's an environment that you will want to get familiar with. You know, everyone has a different relationship with the studio. Me, personally, I love the studio because I love creating, I love the creative process, and I love documenting ideas. You know, same thing with filmmaking. I love making films for that reason, too. I love documenting musical ideas, and especially when it's part of a big project like past week where I was in there. It was pretty intense. It was studio all day, 10 to 13 hours, home, pass out, rinse and repeat. Kept doing that, but it was really cool. As far as the core goes, we recorded the bass, guitar, drums live, which is super fun because we were actually playing together. Then, of course, we overdub other stuff that we want, capture auxiliary instruments, parts, then guests and guest vocals. There are going to be some cool ones on this album. The studio is an important part of being a musician. I'm talking about playing instruments. Again, I'm going to speak about the world that I'm familiar with. Square device that's got a bunch of square buttons on it. I realize that that's a big part of today's music making. I'm not discounting that. I'm not passing any judgment because I'm not familiar with it. I can't, get into that. In life, we constantly we're constantly judging ourselves, and then of course that extends outwards, and you start judging everybody else and other external forces or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I'm speaking about instruments to make music, guitars, pianos, whatever, drums, bass, trumpet. In the studio, there's a lot of pressure because you don't have infinite amounts of time to get what you want. There's a budget, there's financial pressure, and you need to get everything done efficiently at a quality level, at whatever standard that you set. I usually set a pretty high standard. But I have learned over the years, you have to also understand balance and let things go. You got to let the creative piece out, because otherwise you could sit there and try to refine it for the rest of your life. No one will ever hear it. What good is that? Oh, after you die, someone will find it and then say, oh, look, this person was great. Here's a piece they did. But if I'm dead, what do I give a shit? Letting things go is something that's very difficult for us when we're first starting out because we want it to be perfect, close to that as possible, or whatever it is that we hear in our heads, whatever standard we set. We're worried about what other people think. That's a hindrance. A lot of times you end up not being able to get things done. Getting something done efficiently while still understanding the balance level so that you can still maintain a high level of quality is going to help you the most in the long run, because then you're going to keep moving up and you're going to keep evolving forward and you're going to progressing. And you progress when you get your art done, get it out there, connect with people. It's all about connecting, really. I think connecting with people in anything that anyone's doing, I'm talking about music because that's what I do. Whatever it is that you do, connecting with people is certainly huge, or one of the most important things. Either get your work out there or connect with someone else's work, get into a scene. But the studio environment, it's an environment you need to get yourself familiar with. I grew up recording music. My friends and I, we all had home studios. One of my friends had a cool basement studio, so I was fortunate enough to be hands-on. And I'm talking about tape before everyone was able to record with a laptop and an interface. So, we had great experiences creating music and making recordings and learning about the how and why of recording and engineering, quality, fidelity, microphones, preamps. So cool. Stay up all night. The sun would come up and we'd still be there because we were recording or working on something. That was my entrance into the studio, I could even trace it back further from when I was a kid living with my parents, and I had basically 2 boom boxes, a portable radio or tape player at the time, one feeding into another one so that way I could multi-track. That was my way of multi-tracking. I had a synthesizer that was my main. It was an Ensoniq ESQ1. I would put ideas down or rip off some other song that I liked, or some pop song on the radio, or whatever it was. That is how I got into recording. These things that you get from when you're young are important because they're going to carry over, and they're shaping your character, and they're shaping your ability to absorb information and feel comfortable. So there's lots of different things you can do as a musician in the studio. Some people, they live in the studio. They basically are always recording on other people's music. Some people are very good at just going in, record is hit, boom, they nail it. They nail the part, and that becomes their forte. And then next thing you know, they're getting called all the time because everyone knows they're going to come in and they're going to nail it, which saves time and money. Goes back to what I was talking about earlier about getting your work out there. So that's pretty important. So the studio is essential, I think, to being a musician. Now, it could also be your home studio. We can do quite a bit at home the way technology is going, crazier and crazier, as far as what you could do in just a tiny room. I live in a small room in New York City. That's normal for music life in a city like this where everything is very expensive. My place has a place to play with my roommate, who's a drummer who I've known for a very long time, who I'm actually playing a gig with tonight. We're going to play some bass and a bunch of pedals, and he's going to play drums. Very cool. We play at this wine bar. It's awesome. Last night I played a cool gig. I was playing keyboards. I encourage anyone who's getting involved in music to, I don't care what age you're at or what level you're at or whatever it is, get a little home studio going and learn how to shape an idea or, craft something into a song. I give all kinds of lessons, and I was giving a lesson to this guy for a while who was, he was working on producing some hip-hop records, and he wanted to know more about music so that he could contribute more and shape the ideas he had in his head, execute them at a higher level. So, we worked on all kinds of things from basic piano to recording, mixing. Very helpful for him. It's not even about genre. I'm talking about anything that you're trying to do with music. The studio, I think, is a great place to be. It's funny, the subject of money is going to be coming up all the time because guess what? That's a huge part of life. Anyone who says they don't care about money is obviously lying. You have to have money in order to do things, and you should want to make money. Somewhere along the way, I lost sight of money, and I remember just thinking like it's all about art. That's all there is. That is extremely foolish. So don't fall into that. Don't fall victim to that. Definitely keep your eyes and your sights on making money. I would love to have tons more, of course, but it's a very important thing to incorporate into whatever it is you're doing. That way, you're working towards a loftier goal, Because anybody can sit at home. If you live at home with your parents and you're not even paying, if you have no overhead, able to have that situation, cool, more power to you. Just make sure you're utilizing it to your advantage to get other things accomplished and not just freeloading. Whatever money you're making, you could put right back into your work because you don't have to pay this rent. Hope you're all doing well. See you next time.